Hello, my name is Samuel Yotre. Good evening to you all. I want to share with you a few thoughts on the subject of electoral democracy in Uganda. It is about that time. We are in the year 2024 and 2026 is not far from now. The pressures are already high in the political parties, the political organizations. The politics in the country is now geared towards the 2026 general elections. About 2-3 weeks ago, the President of Uganda constituted our independent electoral commission with the appointment of the chairperson of the commission, Justice Simon Mugenyi Byabakama, his deputy, and the other commissioners that will be sitting on the commission. It is about that time for us to head into yet another period of general elections. And the Electoral Commission is back for discussion. You know, they were cut slack after the 2021 general elections had phased out, and after the election petitions at presidential, at parliamentary, and in the local governments had phased away. The issue was forgotten. But that time has come now for our independent electoral commission to start again carrying out very actively their statutory obligation of ensuring a free, fair electoral process in the year 2026 coming. And so they are again up for discussion. However, I think that as Ugandans, we need to rethink our understanding of electoral democracy. I think that we put too much blame on our independent electoral commission. We charge them with a lot for which sometimes they're not responsible for. There are three things about elections that are very critical. A good electoral system must have these three things. Elections must be sufficiently regular, and the tenure of elections varies from country to country. It is determined by the legal regime in any particular country. Here in Uganda, we have a 5 years period for our general elections. In some countries, they have 4, and yet in other countries, they have periods longer than that. There was an attempt, you remember, in Uganda to have our period extended, but the Constitutional Court dealt with that. Now, 2-3 weeks ago, the President of Uganda constituted the Electoral Commission, which has rolled out a roadmap, a road plan of activities headed towards the 2026 general elections. And we have sections of our political elites that think that because the Electoral Commission has its chairperson and commissioners appointed by the President, the Electoral Commission is therefore incapable of exercising the required independence to conduct an electoral process uninfluenced by the appointing authorities in the executive arm of government. And there are those that have completely lost faith in electoral democracy in Uganda, and quoting Article 3 of the Constitution. I did a video about this, saying no, the only alternative to change of government in Uganda is not elections, but a violent, what they call a coup d'etat, violent overthrow, a revolution of sorts, to overthrow this government and establish a new legal order and a new government here in Kampala. And that is because of the loss of faith in electoral democracy. I think that first we need to note and appreciate the worldly view of those that think that the Electoral Commission in Uganda cannot conduct a free and fair electoral system. The honesty of their belief is another, but that it can be debated whether they are honest about that or not. Because the Electoral Commission will tell you that we have had seasons of election petitions at various levels. We have been privy to, this is the Electoral Commission, they will tell you, we have been privy to presidential election petitions sued as parties. We have been sued as parties in parliamentary election petitions. And we have laid our evidence to show that we have no ill will whatsoever. And that in many of these cases, the courts exonerated us. And so we are not the evil that you think we are. And they have their own view. But truly, if there are those that hold the view that the Electoral Commission in Uganda cannot hold a credible election, we need to first take note of that. I belong to that school of thought that believes that every person's opinion does matter. Notwithstanding that they may be wrong, but take note of such opinion. Because if you rubbish away the thoughts of those that take issue with the credibility of our Electoral Commission, and yet, even in their being wrong, they are honestly believing that view, then they are bound to lose, and you don't address it, or you just don't, you ignore it completely, then they are bound to take a road of loss of faith in electoral democracy. That would mean they will resort to non-electoral ways of seeking office, which is actually rebel activities, which is a war that eventually leads to anarchy, instability, and it would in turn affect our economic growth endeavors in the country. So it's important that we bring back those that hold the opinion that our elections here are sharp. We must take all efforts to answer their queries and try to listen to what suggestions they have. It's very important. But my personal opinion is that the Electoral Commission of Uganda has tried to do all and perform all its statutory obligations to ensure that our elections are actually free and fair, without fear or favor. We need to understand that our Electoral Commission is an evolving democratic institution. Democracy is not a destination. Democracy in all countries is a process. Even in the United States, first, there are countries that don't even have elections. There are nations where the population have no business in choosing who will lead them. They are there. But there are those countries that choose that their people must have a say in the selection of their leadership. And in countries where it is chosen that elections hold, electoral systems differ. In the US, for example, you have reliance on electoral colleges. You can have a head of state, a president, go into general elections, win the popular vote, and lose the electoral colleges. And then one would lose the electoral colleges and win the popular vote. This is how Trump won. He won the electoral colleges, but he lost the popular vote. So even in the United States of America, which is used to benchmark democracy in many parts of the world, they have issues with their electoral system. When the Democrats lose because of the challenges of the reliance on electoral colleges, they complain and say we should go back to popular vote. And when the other party also loses in the next phase of election,